Trent Kelly and I were younger. That was a song that was number one for a while and not during a good period of time. Good morning, Congressman. How are you, sir?
Absolutely, and it may be relevant today, Paul.
It is.
Protests and war and the use of all our men and women across the world.
It is. It's a scary, scary time. I just played a cut where there are some people who are saying, and it's being leaked from the White House, that the president might even call a climate crisis and have executive powers that are akin to 9/11 or COVID, and that who knows what's going to happen between now and November.
Listen, they are pulling out all the stops, and his numbers continue to plummet. He continues to do more things that are contrary to what the American people need and our best interest. This administration is out of control, and with only having a slim majority in the House, we're doing everything we can to hold it. But this administration is out of control. Specifically, I mean, just like the State Department saying that Israelis have committed war attrition many, many years ago. They've been holding back weapons for 4 months. And now they're saying we don't want to send them if they're going to do an offensive in Rafah. I mean, this is crazy stuff coming out of this administration.
It's almost like, can you imagine that happening and Israel telling us how to fight our war in Japan or some places like that? It is crazy where I don't even think Netanyahu is listening anymore. He's looking for two things: survival there, and number two, for a change in the Oval Office in November.
Well, if I was a Jewish person in America right now, I would be very leery of this administration supporting pro-Hamas supporters, being an enemy or at least not a friend to our best ally in the Middle East, which is Israel. I'm telling you, they are targeting Jews at a level that we have not seen since, quite frankly, since Hitler. And
they're inculcating a whole generation of people who probably never are asking, I have no idea, number one, who my Jewish friends are. They are, we don't know if they're Jewish or not. Number one, should I not like them? We're creating racism in an area where it was, I'm not going to say dead, but certainly not where it's going to be in 5 years from now or 5 days from now.
Absolutely. There was a lot of that in probably the 50s and 60s, and that went dormant for a while. And now they're kind of bringing that back and making it where, listen, those people are, they're loud, they are violent, they are mean, and they are trying to get congressmen and other people to respond to them, and then they put misinformation online about your response, and they only show part of the truth. They don't show all the things they did to drive you to the anger that you get to.
Number one, let's don't forget about this. This and everything else, black to white, man to woman, gender, everything else, school, sports. How you divide people is the more you can divide, the more you can conquer, and that's exactly what this is about. Police to law-abiding citizens, First Amendment, Second Amendment, all of these things. How many things can we divide you, and we've got a better chance to retain power? To hell with the Constitution, to hell with patriotism. We want power. Look, I think that was explicit from the Democrats when you guys held a vote the other day on let's just protect the sanctity of the election for American citizens. And you couldn't get any. How many votes did you get from Democrats?
I don't think if we got any, we didn't get very many. Listen, they want to divide us. They want to separate us. And the whole purpose of that is so they can divide you, get you mad at each other. And then while you're watching that red herring, what those guys are doing is trying to take away constitutional rights one at a time, just as quick as they can.
I think they're doing a pretty good job. And I don't think there's enough emphasis on this, and I hope it increases. We've got to have more people in the House and Senate. That's the only way to do it. Even if Trump won, we've got to have more people because they could do the same thing they did the first 4 years. Just delay this thing and hamper him with a lot of investigations and indictments, and you know damn well they're going to do that. I got to ask you about this one because I double-checked, and this is an actual thing. The president did sign this bill or this executive order or whatever it was, but listen to this.
I just found something out, and I'm trying to figure it out. So how is it that the Biden administration has made it possible for Ukrainian refugees to get SSI checks. They're not paying into the system. They're not from this country. They didn't help build this country. How are they getting SSI checks? You know, the monies that are taken out of every paycheck, that chunk of money that they take. How are Ukrainian refugees getting SSI checks? Please make me understand that, because they're trying to work us until we die so that we don't get the SSI check. How is that happening? Somebody please make me understand, because the math is not mathing.
President Biden signed H.R. 7691, qualifying refugees from Ukraine to claim Social Security benefits, and again, they're not paying into the system. Tell me about this.
Listen, we don't know where the money's going in Ukraine, and I voted against the last Ukraine supplemental. I support Ukraine in giving them military weapons to do that fight. I do not support propping up their economy, doing all those other things. So we've got to be, listen, this president has shown he will use a pen. I mean, it's like the college loans that he's trying to forgive. He was told it was unconstitutional and illegal. And what did he do? He waited 2 weeks and did the same thing again, changed a few words and did the same thing again. He's doing the same thing with Ukraine. He's doing the same thing, but he's cutting off the lethal aid that these people need. And he's focusing on all this other aid that he can, that is fungible, that he can use however he wants to. And we've got to put a stop to it, Paul. We can't afford our own bills, much less paying everybody else's.
Well, so you're saying you've softened a little bit on the funding for the Ukraine.
No, I voted against Ukraine funding because we have got to make sure that it is going. Listen, it helps us. A lot of that was to restockpile our stuff. It gets our older systems out of the systems they use them. But we've got to put that. We've got to be very direct. That has got to be for lethal aid to stop the invasion by Russia, not to pay Social Security or salaries or aid to our enemies. I mean, we've got to make sure that the money is going where it's intended to go.
Let me ask you this, though. In the real world, you and I know this, that with the clock ticking down months away from just a few months away, could be Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not going to look at this Ukrainian situation, the most corrupt country on the face of the earth, the same way that Joe Biden is. His son is not going to be cutting a deal over in the Ukraine. Don't you think Zelensky and the rest of these people understand the clock is ticking and every bit of cash that they can get is going to wind up, you think, buying bullets or buying boats?
Yeah, I think President Trump is going to be elected, and when he's elected, I think he will continue to send lethal aid to Ukraine to stop the invasion. First of all, this invasion would not have happened had Donald Trump been president. It's the weakness of the current president that has allowed all these things to happen, because they have no respect that this president will do the right things. Donald Trump will. So I don't think he'll be sending money that is that you can't trace or don't know where it's going. But I do absolutely think he will stop Putin. I think, in spite of the Russian hoax where they tried to paint him for 4 years of being pro-Russia, Donald Trump is not pro-Russia.
Well, he'll turn off Russia's, number one, as far as Russia is concerned, he'll turn their spigot off because when he starts drilling again, their oil prices are going to collapse. In my understanding, and you know this, the number one income they have by far is oil, and that's it. If they don't have that, they can't afford to buy their own bullets.
And it's not only oil, it's oil that they're allowed to sell to other countries to fund the Russian war machine because of Biden executive orders and policies, which will not let us sell energy and allow them to sell them to our friends to make money, so that Russia is funding their war machine by Biden policies.
Anything happening in the next few days that are going to be earth-shaking? I mean, did you see anything happening as far as releasing some national alert as far as bird flu, and we got to take those vaccines?
I hope not. And listen, we will fight that. We are not going to go. They are trying to create an emergency because they're doing everything they can to find some issue that they can make Biden look good on. The problem is he's not going to look good on any issue because he can't even talk and answer questions.
Have you met with the new GOP folks as far as Laura and also Mr. Whatley? Has anybody talked? Have you talked to them or been in any of the meetings with them?
No, I get. I mean, I staff to staff and those kind of things. I do, Paul. But obviously, Laura's going to be in town tonight, I think, or tomorrow, and so I'm going to be engaging at that level. But on a staff level, I have, but not personal between those guys.
She will be in town today for that get together. So I know you got to go. Look, I appreciate you, sir, very, very much. When you're back in town, please stop in.
Yes, sir. Great to hear from you.
You got it. Trent Kelly, Mississippi Congressman, first.